Good morning. This is a presentation of BeFit mobile application. So why did we choose the system we did? During the COVID-19 pandemic, users start to using mobile application actively. Interest in health is increased. We wanted to create an application which includes sport, exercises, healthy recipes, list with food ingredients for future shopping, and useful articles about health and fitness in one application. The main idea of this application is saving users time. Now it's no need to looking for a recipe or exercise. User can go to the shop and always has a list with ingredients for future healthy recipes. After COVID-19 pandemic, users can use this application too, because it will be updated with exercises in the gym, and in our application user can find the nearest gym easily. This application will be actual in the future too. What will this system do? So our system has several useful features. For example, user is able to add workouts to my plan. User is able to filter workouts by type and focus area. Also, user is able to add recipes to my plan, and he can filter recipes by dietary and meal type. So user is able to count number of ingredients depending on portion size. User is able to add ingredients from recipes in the shopping list, so for him it will be comfortable to go to a shop and to use this ready list. User is able to find the nearest gym using Google Places. And finally, user is able to read blog with articles about health, fitness, and etc.
Now I'm going to explain the process we experienced while dealing with the system analysis and design. Fundamentally, our team worked using an agile development approach with tasks, weekly sprints, and communication routes to show our advancements for our assigned tasks each week. That's usually all we did by trying to keep as much as closely possible to the agile development. For starters, for our project, we worked on understanding the requirements of a problem, since this is the base to create the bridge to the design and construction of a system. And this was done by using multiple techniques that improve the understanding of these requirements. This allowed to identify the functional and non-functional requirements for software and the most important stakeholders. After that, for the second step, we started working on the software requirement specifications, or SRS, which are pretty much artifacts that include the problem identification, the system description, and many different models that were discussed as a team to reach a consensus for the first deployment of this document. First, we worked on the scenario-based models, like use case, user stories, sequence diagrams, and such, in order to represent the system from the user's or actor's point of view. Then we followed with the class-oriented models, like the domain class diagram, that allows to represent like software-oriented programming classes in a way in which of these classes actually collaborate with each other to achieve the system requirements. After that, we did the behavioral models that are pretty much the state machine and the sequence diagram that depict how the software behaves, essentially on the consequences of external events that might occur. And finally, we worked on the flow-oriented models or activity diagrams that pretty much represent the functional elements and systems and how they transform data as they move through the system. Additionally, we identified the technologies that we were going to use for application for the development stages. Now, for the third step, we worked on the software design architecture, or SDD document, which is essentially divided into two different parts. First, we worked on the modularization, architectural pattern, and data layer, And second, we worked on the design pattern, the user interface, which is composed by UI and UX, and the deployment diagram. For the first one, our group basically specified the modularization of the subsystems using the basis of the ones identified in previous steps for the part A and B of the project. Followed by this, we tried to do the depiction of the MVC pattern for the user cases, and after that we finally ended with the expanded data layer for the first part. Then after that, finally, for the last one, we pretty much just discussed about which patterns were more closely related to what we could implement based on our previous class diagrams and everything we've done so far, and also try to implement the UI design, of course, respecting the three golden rules of the user design. And that's pretty much all how we did this approach to design our system.
So the next slide is, so what specifically did you learn in this class and how did you apply your learning to analyze and design your project? So in this class we learned many things. Like we mainly learned that there are many steps in creating an application, and by using these steps we were able to create an application as a team, and we were able to understand that there are different flaws in creating an application, and there are many reasons why the application did not get done correctly. So by following these steps, we were able to create an application successfully. In this course, creating an application was done using 3 steps. They were mainly project scope and requirement, and designing a software design architecture, and by designing system design document. So we used a Gantt chart to keep track of the progress because we worked as a team, and we also submitted a weekly report on what we each did during that week. So next is the part A, which is the project scope and requirements. So the first step in this part was to create a problem statement and how it stands out from the already existing applications. And we needed to also have an understanding on what the application do and who it is aimed from the beginning itself. So by creating our own application and by hearing from our classmates, we were able to get a much better understanding on what we needed to do. Later, we created a CFD, which is a context-free diagram, which made us understand the components even better. Finally, we were able to create an UML class diagram, and then the area diagram was also created. So the next is part B. This is a software design architecture. So here an architectural context diagram was created. So later modularization was done, and new use cases were added for the class in that original diagram. Also, we made a new MCV, and the framework here it was introduced here, and we also learned to create a sequence diagram. So next is the part C, which is a system design document. And here we learn to create a system design document containing details and descriptions of the system requirements, operating environments, and architecture, files and database design. Information about the designs were mentioned here, like design patterns used here, UI, UX design of the application, etc.
We have made the fitness application for the Android users. If we will get a chance in the future, we will develop for iOS users, and it also usable in the laptops and the tablets in the future. In addition, we will add the module for the checking pulse rates, and it also shows the report of the daily calories intakes and the burned calories. We will plan to display the steps which users have daily walked. The further users can get virtual trainer by this app in the future. In the next step, if we secured funding to build this system which we have designed. For that first we will design the system, then next we will write code as per the document and the requirements, as per the users requirements. After that it will be tested by the tester, and the last it will be available for the end users to use the application in their devices.